Welcome back, fight fans. This is the DAZN Boxing Show. I go by the name of Ak.
And I'm Barack the Boxing Bully.
I mean, look, a lot of fights this weekend we need to touch on. Talk about who needs to retire, who needs to continue to move forward. But there were some great fights this past weekend. We're going to get into it in the opening bell. Barack, I want to start off with Chocolatito Gonzalez versus Estrada. Highly anticipated trilogy. Going into that fight, I was very vocal about feeling that Chocolatito won the second fight, and I had him picked him to win the third one, the trilogy. Barack, I do feel that at some point in this sport of boxing, there are guys that will hang it up mentally in one training camp, meaning, I guess, get old, so to speak. That's something that they say over one training camp. I mean, what I saw is a glimpse of the old Chocolatito later on in that fight in the last 5 rounds, but he was a step behind, step too slow. The volume wasn't there. That's what he's known for, volume. The volume wasn't there till late, and I think he made Estrada look a lot better than he is. No disrespect to Estrada. Hell of a fighter. He was on a pound list for a while. I was trying to get him off there for a while because I just think that there's too much talent in the sport right now. But nevertheless, he gets credit for the win, but he beat a Chocolatito that was a shell of himself.
That's so disrespectful of you. So disrespectful to say that Roman Gonzalez was a shell of himself. When was Roman Gonzalez ever known for his speed? Never. You know, but his punch output, yes, maybe. And I can definitely say that was the difference in the fight. When you had last fight, together they threw 2,500 punches. And in this one was 1,000 punches less. Now, the reason for that, obviously, is the guy who's pressuring the fighter. You know, so normally it's Roman Gonzalez pressuring, throwing a lot of punches. So it forces Juan Estrada to throw as many punches back. That wasn't the case this time. Yes, it kind of reminded me a little bit of Triple G and Canelo, how all of a sudden Canelo looks way better than Triple G. And all of a sudden Juan looked faster, better, his movement was great. But also, if you're talking about a step slower, you talk about the older guy, 35, took a lot of punishment. He came on in the later rounds. He came on in the mid-fight, later rounds, you know? And
that was that last win. That last win he had in him, his corner, it was pushing him. Listen, we have to do something here. But, you know, I heard I think Chris Mannix said at the end that he can still go on the fight, and compete at a high level. And I disagree with that. I just don't see that happening because a legend like that, a Hall of Famer, a future legend in the sport, why would you stay in the sport if you can't compete at the elite level? What are you there, to be a journeyman? What are you there, for a check? So what's the point? No, he cannot compete. He should not move on. He's accomplished enough in the sport. I think Estrada, I don't want to say he got lucky. He was prepared for this win, but I think he got the best version that he can possibly get to look the way he did on that night. That was not, and I'll say it again, a shell of Chocolatito. Yes, he came on, but remember, this is boxing. Championship fights go 12 rounds. You can't say, oh, I'm putting it on in the last 4 or 5 rounds. It's just not enough. So if you can't fight like that for 12 rounds, then you're not a 12-round fighter.
He's a late starter. He's definitely a late starter.
No, he's not. He's never that late. He's never that late.
No, he's a late starter, first of all, but Estrada was good. His movement was great. His angles, his pivoting was great.
Come on.
I think
you're making him sound more skilled than he is.
All right. I think? What? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, like, look, you were the one that wanted to keep him on the pound for pound list when I was trying to get him off the pound for pound list. And I'm not saying that Estrada isn't good. All I'm saying is that the guy is not special. He's not special.
He's not special.
You know what special looks like?
I do know what special looks like, and it's him. Now, understand something. Do you remember back in 2019 when I was saying Terrence Crawford is the best fighter in the world? You know what you were saying? You were saying Canelo is the best fighter in the world. But I was saying, yeah, but you know what? I feel like his resume is better because he fought so many champions, more than everybody. But he just had a fight with Daniel Jacobs. He got by, you know. It wasn't a huge disparity. He just had a fight with Triple G, barely got past that. Some people thought he lost.
Did you just say Canelo barely got past Jacobs? Is that what you just said?
No,
First of all, let's stick to Chocolatito.
Maybe 7-5. If you're lucky, it's 8-4. But what I'm saying is he wasn't totally dominating him. So
what does that have to do with Estrada?
Listen to what I'm saying. Estrada has great wins on his record. You're talking about Quadras, Rung Vazai, Brian Valaria, and you're talking about Roman Gonzalez. So he has great wins, and he might just be edging all of those guys. But he's just like Canelo in 2019 was just edging Triple G. But he was still considered the best. This guy, Juan Estrada, is a... Didn't you see greatness? Didn't you see great movement?
No, greatness, no, I didn't see greatness. I saw a guy that fought a shell of a legend and actually banked a lot of rounds in because when Chocolatito
was not the last fight. Was not the last fight between those two.
Listen,
close.
When
yes
Chocolatito
no? Was the last fight close?
Listen,
yes or no?
When Chocolatito, like to your point, when he turned it on late on in the rounds, was Estrada able to do something? Who was winning those rounds?
Well, you're not going to lose some rounds? You're not going to lose some rounds?
Whenever Chocolatito turned the notch up, whatever gas he had left, he couldn't do nothing with an old Chocolatito. He could not do anything with him.
That doesn't make sense.
So what could he do with the elite fighters?
That doesn't make sense. Juan Estrada also turned it up and made...
What would he do with a Bang Van Rodriguez? What would he do with those
That's
type
a totally
of guys?
different story. What would either one of those guys do with a Bang Rodriguez?
But you're talking about a guy like Chocolatito.
I'm just saying the man is great.
I'm
I'm saying Juan Estrada is great, and that's it. All right, let's do this. Let's rewind. Let's go back to the second fight. Was that not, even though you said Roman Gonzalez won in your mind, was that not a close fight?
That was a close fight.
Greatness, two great fighters, that's why. So
but it wasn't,
was great. Hold
on. No.
I asked
it
you
wasn't
a question,
debatable.
and let me finish.
You've
been running your mouth this whole time.
Let me
finish.
I'm sorry.
You're lying now. You're lying now.
No, I take it back. It wasn't a close fight.
Let me finish what I'm saying.
It was 8-4 Chocolatito the second fight.
Let me finish before you lie.
Whatever.
You know that the fight, everybody else in the world except you said that fight was close between Roman Gonzalez and Juan Estrada the second fight.
I'm not the only one that felt that he won the fight.
Everybody knows. Hold on for a second. You said the right answer, but you seen that I got you, so you switched it and now you're lying because you lost the battle already. Listen, you know that fight. Let me finish talking, loser. You know that fight was close, and then guess what? That means greatness fought greatness. If the fight was close and you considered Roman Gonzalez one of the best fighters in the world, you was trying to put him on that pound for pound list so bad. That means Juan Estrada's great.
Look, you want me to keep giving you references? We were in Atlantic City when we saw the great Bernard Hopkins, who is one of the greatest of all times, lose to Joe Smith. Would you call Bernard great that day? Would you call him great?
I'm talking about the second fight. I'm talking about the second fight,
all
buddy.
I'm saying is
I'm talking about the second fight, buddy. You're running from that one.
All right, in my opinion, Estrada beat Chocolatito one time, right? And he has a couple of good wins in his record. To call him great and special, that's out of line. You'll see once he fights an elite fighter, you'll see what happens.
He did. He beat him last time.
He fought a shell of Chocolatito. Let's
go back to the second fight. All I'm saying is that the man is already great. The man is already a Hall of Famer. He beat Roman Gonzalez when you thought Roman Gonzalez was one of the best fighters in the world. He beat him then. Whether he beat him or not, it was a very close fight.
It wasn't very close. He didn't beat him.
Oh, you're a liar. You said it was, and you switched it up because you see I got you.
Let the great Roman Gonzalez retire, walk off into the sunset. He's accomplished enough. That wasn't a great version of him. He was a shell of himself, and Estrada got him at the right time.
Let Roman say that was a shell. Why don't you let Roman say that was a shell in himself? Now, do I agree that maybe he should retire? Well, I say this. I don't tell a man that he should retire, but not after a performance like that. But I do say you can usually tell when a fighter doesn't want to do it anymore in a post-fight interview. He didn't have the energy to really say, I want this fight like he did the second fight. He wanted the next one. This one right here, he got to sit back. He got to relax. He wasn't too sure. This took a lot on his body. Maybe if you pay me a lot of money, it seems like maybe this is getting a little bit too tough to continue.
I mean, there's no question about it. If you can't compete at the elite level, walk off now. I think that was a hell of an effort,
he did
but it wasn't enough.
At the elite level.
That's it. No,
it was a close fight. He did compete.
But if you can't,
it was a majority.
If you can't put the best version of yourself Out in the ring, you should not be fighting unless you're a journeyman or a guy just collecting a check. If you can't go in there and be the best version of yourself, you shouldn't be in that ring. And we all can agree that wasn't the best version of Chocolatito.
Okay, maybe so, but guess what? Almost every fighter will tell you the best version of themselves only showed up a couple of times in their career, a few times in their career.
This was
Mayweather himself, the best. Yeah, move on while I'm talking, right? The best fighter ever, Mayweather would tell you the best version of himself was only during Diego Corrales and maybe Gaddy. So it doesn't matter. The best version of yourself doesn't have to show up every single night.
Well, speaking of warriors that put it and left it all in the ring, and they always do. Derek Chisora fighting, a 6'9" Tyson Fury, who his jab was on the money, his counter punching, his combinations, just way too much for Derek Chisora. He took a lot of shots in that fight, and we saw his eyes swollen. I'm glad he got the opportunity to make money. These guys already shared the ring. That was the third time they shared the ring. Fury had already beaten him twice. This was in front of 60,000 people in Tottenham. We were there when Usyk fought Joshua there. Great crowd, great fight for the British people, but it was a no contest. But kudos to Derek Chisora. I also will, again, I can't tell somebody to retire just like you just mentioned, but I can give my opinion. I think he's given the sport enough, and we don't need to see Chisora out there against any other elite heavyweight.
In this situation, I don't think anybody thought Chisora was going to win. I think this was one man who's at the top of his game, who's at the top of his division, top of the world, kind of like Floyd at the end of his career when he picked Berto. That's kind of like what it was. And he's giving his friend a shot. That's it. A shot to make a whole lot of money. And maybe if you're lucky to win. Chisora has 13 losses. Yes, you can say he's only been knocked out 4 times, but you know what? I think not being knocked out sometimes is worse, because you take more shots and you're lasting to the 12th round, taking a whole lot more shots. The man still wants to continue. He says, think about this, man. He got a lot of pride and got a lot of heart. He says he doesn't want to go out like this, so he might just take a softer touch just to go out with a victory. Fights like that don't really do much for boxing, but when you grew up with a fighter, when you love a fighter, you still want to support him.
I guess you want to see him go out with a win, and if that's something that is going to satisfy him in his retirement and is going to make him feel better about his career, I support that. But I would prefer him not to take any shots anymore in a boxing ring.
So do I. 13 losses in the heavyweight division.
Yeah, it's just
very, very dangerous.
It's just a lot. I think both guys should definitely hang them up. They're both giving the sport a lot. All right, that's our show for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Peace and love. Stay safe. We're out of here.
Introducing the new DAZN Boxing Show podcast. No matter the time or the place, getting your boxing content has become easier than ever. Tune in as we give you exclusive insights, predictions, fight night recaps, and more alongside the biggest names in the game. All for free. Available globally every Thursday across all audio streaming platforms and with new episodes dropping weekly to give you the latest news. Just type in the DAZN Boxing Show podcast, listen in, and enjoy.